Hi, I'm Lee Rogers and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, as you know, I have been covering the various myths about personal branding, straight from my book, Out of the Shadows and Into Your Light. Be sure to click on the link below and order your copy about personal branding. So, this series, this particular episode is about the myth of personal branding being mainly about appearances. So, appearances are important. It's super important when it comes to your personal brand. But many people fall into the trap of thinking that personal branding is only about what you look like. Wrong. That is completely wrong. As I mentioned, it is important. It's an element. It's something that needs to definitely be considered. I always like to advise people, especially if you're in the workplace or you own your own business, you should think about personal branding and your appearance, that you should always dress for or groom yourself for where you want to go, where you want to be. So if you know there's a business owner that you really admire and they have a really big empire and a big business, how do they carry themselves? Or if there's someone in your company that you aspire to be at their level or grow into that title, how do they carry themselves? So you should be thinking about that. You should definitely carry yourself for the position that you want to have. However, personal branding is so much bigger than that. So I want to talk about, just very briefly, about the other elements of personal branding that fit into your personal appearance that you cannot ignore, and as a reminder that personal branding is so much bigger than what you look like. And honestly, we can get tied up into that with having photo shoots. We always hear about brand photo shoots and things like that. Again, those things are super important, but the trap could be you have a photo shoot, you have beautiful pictures, and you think you're done with your branding. But that does not bring in the money. That does not help you with your credibility. That does not help you get a promotion. Doesn't help you in relationships. It just is an element of your personal brand. But the other elements of your personal brand that lends itself to the whole personal appearance as well are also super important. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to personal branding and also assisting with the personal appearance is you've got to understand the concept of consistency. There is no personal branding without consistency. I like to say this, and I think I also have it in my book, that anyone can be a one-hit wonder. You can have a great photo shoot, you can look amazing for a meeting, for an event, for a conference, for a speaking engagement, all of those things. But can you be consistent? So personal branding is definitely about consistency. Who are you at your core? What are your values? What is it that you deeply believe in, so that it's not work to actually live this out? Right? It is who you are. So we can be consistent with things that lends itself to who we truly are. So consistency is a big piece of personal branding. Another big aspect of personal branding is also clarity. And that also helps with personal appearance, because sometimes we are all over the place. We look one way on Monday and another way on Wednesday or Thursday, so we don't have a style. There's nothing consistent about how we show up. Have you ever worked with someone that literally looks different every single day, and you really have no idea what their style is, who they actually are, what they're going to look like on any given day, or how they're going to show up in a meeting, right? That means they have not understood in living out their own brand. But then there are some people that you know that it's not like they're going to wear the same thing every single day, but you trust and believe that they're going to show up as their best every single day. You get an idea of how they're going to look, what their style is. You can trust that you can send them to a client and not be there, and trust that everything will work out. That's an example of someone who understands someone else's brand. They have a personal brand. So be clear on what your style is. How do you want to show up? How do you want to appear? And it doesn't mean that it has to be, name brands every single day and you have to look perfect every single day. No, but you should be clear on what your style is so that people trust and believe and understand who they're going to get every single time they come into the office, you have a meeting, or you're going to present in front of a client. Also helps with speaking engagements as well. People want to trust and believe that the same person they hired is going to be the same person that shows up in the future. The next very important thing is, when you're thinking about your personal brand, is understanding your audience. Yes. So that lends itself also with personal appearance, because you may love wearing very formal gowns and dressing up with lots of makeup and doing all the things. And there's a time and a place for that. But understand who your audience is. If you are selling or working with people in a much more casual work environment, you coming dressed up every single day means you may not understand your culture, your workplace culture, your environment, and all of those things. So understand who your audience is. Understand who you are talking to, what the expectations are in your workplace, in your environment where you may be selling, in your industry overall. So what is the expectation of the personal brand of your audience? And that does not mean you cannot be true to yourself. There should be a middle ground of what you like in your style and then what your audience is expecting. So do the work to find that out, and don't be so tone deaf that you show up inappropriately to meetings because you've either underdressed or overdressed. So understand your audience when you're thinking about your personal appearance and your personal brand. The other piece of personal branding is authenticity. And as I mentioned, we want you to be completely who you are. You should not have to fake who you are, fake how you show up, fake all of those things, right? We want you to be you. But just figuring out who you are compared to what the expectations are with your audience. And it could be that you may push the envelope a little bit, and that's okay. But just understanding when to do it and how to do it. And I have to say that the other part of personal branding, as we know, is doing really good work. So if you're doing excellent work and you are putting out good service and good product, and you have a personal appearance that aligns with that, that is magic. That is perfect, right? So make sure that, again, it's not all about how you look. It is also about the service and the products that you provide. Those things are critical. So just wanted to touch on those things when you are thinking about your personal brand and your appearance. Remember, the myth is that personal branding is about what you look like, about your appearance. That's one element of it, and it's very important, but there's so much more to your personal brand than just how you look and how you show up physically. So make sure you have great service, you do great work, and that you are listening closely to what the expectations are of your audience, your clients, your future customers and clients, your coworkers, workplace culture, all those things. And you think about all of the elements that I've mentioned, right? Those things are super important and they have to be kept in consideration. I just don't want you to fall for the myth that it's all about what you look like. There has to be something more. And as I've mentioned in almost all of my videos, at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, personal branding is about how you live out your values. So if you haven't figured that piece out, before you can even get to what you look like and your style and all those things, really take some time to understand what your values are so that you can connect them to your personal brand and completely live that out. So thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already, and continue to follow me for more information on personal branding and how to be more visible. Look forward to seeing you, and make sure you share this, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Thank you.